So I actually already filmed this once a year ago with that transmission over there, and then I either recorded over it or lost it. I don't remember what happened, but I already did this once, but we're gonna do it again since you guys didn't get to see it, and this will be the third part of the 4L80 series, because you're gonna see a video where I actually find it, then you'll see a video where I pull it, and then you'll see this video how I'm gonna determine if it's good, because I'm gonna sell whichever one of these isn't good for, you know, I don't know, 100 bucks or something as a core, and you know, try to get some of my money back, because that's how I afford my little hobby. So I'm gonna get started by pulling off a bunch of stuff that you don't need in a swap vehicle, and some stuff that you do. But we'll pull the neutral safety switch slash what's the neutral safety switch and the reverse lights. You don't need that in a swap. You don't need some of these brackets and heat shields. I'm going to pull the dipstick off instead of the side. I'm going to pull the lines off and throw them away. And the harness I kept intentionally because I don't have a 4L80 plug, and you can repin a 4L60, but I got the plug, so why not just use that? So I'm going to pull that off instead of the side. I'm going to pull the dipstick off instead of the side. We're going to pull the lines off, toss them, and then I'll get into pulling the pan and seeing what we need to see here. So this surprisingly takes an American size SAE wrench. I expected it would be metric, but it's not. It's 3/4. Obviously, I'm not going to screw with this all day. I don't need the lines, and I don't need the fittings, so... On a 4L80, it's important to note that the rear fitting, whether you have an early or a late model, close together or far apart, the rear fitting goes into the center support. So you gotta make sure you have the right one there. The shift arm I'm definitely going to keep because it's got the right keyway to fit, so I might have to cut this up and make something happen to make it work, but at least I have it. So I'm going to go ahead, put these bolts back in where they came from. I never know, I might need to hang something off of them or make a bracket or whatever, so they can be useful for that. Alright, so over here on this side is the heat shield. There's two 10mm bolts that hold it on. If you look at this tag, that number tells me that this is a 2000 if I Google it. Well, that series or whatever, that identifier tells me this is a 2000 C3500 transmission. So I don't believe this thing's ever been out and only had 160,000 on it. You get the part number right here. Get a bunch of crap right here. The fluid that came out from inside, you know, everywhere where I pulled dipstick tubes and stuff like that, all looks good and clean. You know, used but good. So I'm gonna go ahead and scoot this over so that I can drain it, because they should have drained it at the yard, but obviously there's a bunch of fluid in it still, and there's still going to be a bunch of fluid in it even after I drain it. What's up, Chris? Being able to evaluate the fluid in here is like a huge deal. Like, that's used fluid, but it's not horrible. So I know that it wasn't just changed, like, you know, and like sometimes what'll happen is you'll have a transmission that's not shifting right, or you're missing a gear or whatever, and then the guy will go, oh, maybe I should change the fluid in the filter. Well, he should have changed the fluid in the filter 3 years ago, but you know, now that there's something wrong, now he wants to change it. And then you get people on the internet going, changing the fluid and filter makes your transmission fail. you know, when the truth is not changing your fluid and filter makes your transmission fail. But yeah, being able to evaluate that makes me feel a lot better. That fluid looks good, really good. So hopefully we continue with the good news when I turn it upside down and get to the valve body. I'll be back. Alright, the pan bolts are 10 millimeters and I think there's 17 of them. I'm just going to zip them off real quick. Fluid's going to go everywhere. Not much we can do about that, but... Alright, so here we have the pan. There's some clutch material in there. That's what this black stuff is. Okay, it's not a lot. I don't know what this is. I'm a little concerned about it, but not really. I don't believe anybody's ever been inside here, and I don't believe there's anything here to worry about. So we'll continue on and pull the valve body so we can do our air checks real quick. Alright, I had forgotten that the manifold pressure deal. I don't know, that's a sensor that senses pressure inside the transmission. That takes 8mm bolts, and then don't do what I did, which is break one of the sensors off because it's stuck inside the valve body. Now I have to buy another one. Actually, I think I have one in the garage, but neither here nor there. Moving on. I'm gonna pull this valve body now. The rest of these are 10mm bolts. I'm just gonna leave them right where they're at, so that I can show you guys the air checks. So I'll be right back. Okay, the last easy check you can do without actually tearing the thing apart. I mean, obviously you can see in here a little bit. There's a big window. You can see the direct in there. You can't see the clutches, but you can see if there's giant chunks of the gear train missing or anything. But the easy thing you can do is an air check. So you need air nozzle, and you're going to check right here. And this may not be being conveyed properly on camera, but that is a hollow Torx bolt. Okay, and then the second location is right back here. Mine says 8, it might say 7. There's a little bevel deal right here, and that's also hollow. So for this one, you can see it move like right there. I hope you guys can see that. Okay, hopefully you can see this. See how those clutches are slamming forward? That tells me that the seals internally are good and that they're slack and that everything's moving freely at least. Now back here you can't see these clutches, and this will be the low reverse, but you can hear it, hopefully. I don't know if I did anything but blow your eardrums out, but you'll hear it clunk. And again, that way you know the seals are good. When I find them like this, I'm happy to throw them back together and let them go. Hold on a moment. For a junkyard transmission, this is totally acceptable. Let me try again without the compressor running. You hear that little pop pop? That's the clutches moving. So these are, I'm gonna call it good to go. And I will get into some mods in the next video that you guys can do if you want to take it apart. Or, you know, I'm probably just going to do the HD2 kit in this. Usually I prefer to dual feed it, but this one doesn't need to come apart, and I'm not going to mess with it if it doesn't. So we'll go from there. Until next time, this is JR. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.